Hey, I am back again. I tell you, this has been one more crazy lesson. The last time, the first video, I cut it off and I thought I could pause it. I couldn't, so I had to make another one, and then it was the wrong way again. And now this is my third video, so maybe third time and then I did it again. Anyway, it's a long story. So we're going to go back and we're going to start learning how to reduce fractions. If we reduce something, we always know that reduce means to lower. If I need to reduce the number of fish I have in my tank, that means I need to get rid of some of the fish in my tank. And reduce, since we know that means to lower, that's what we're going to do with fractions. Because we've been talking about the equal fractions, and we know that 5/10 is equal to a half. But what about those fractions that we might know what they're equal to? What if we have something like, let me think, let's have 7/42. That's not as easy as this one, because we know that 5/10 are neighbors, so we know they're a half. 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, and that's a half. Now, I made this for you, and I left you a copy on there. I hope you can see it well. If you can't print it off pretty, maybe you can at least pull it up. The first thing, the steps to reduce fractions, is ask yourself, will the numerator go into the denominator? So we're going to ask ourselves, will 7 go into 42? Well, yes, if you know your times tables, we don't even have to go anywhere else to look, because we know that 7 times 6 is 42. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide 7/42 by 7/7. Why? Because 7 will go into 42. 7 is a factor of 42. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. 42 divided by 7 is 6. So 7/42 equals 1/6. All right, that looks pretty easy, doesn't it? It's because it is pretty easy. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's do 6/24. Well, if I look at 6/24, the first thing I do when I'm reducing a fraction is will my numerator go into my denominator? Will 6 go into 24? And you know your multiplication, and you said, yes, it sure will. So we're going to divide 6/24 by 6/6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So 6/24 is the same thing as 1/4. Now, when you start doing your fractions, adding, subtraction, adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions, you're going to have it at the lowest term. So when you hear lowest term, that means you have to reduce it, or it will not be correct. Like, for example, Math Olympics could not leave this answer 6/24. They had to know how to reduce it to 1/4. And it's the same thing for 5th grade. So we've got to learn how. We say, well, okay, that seems pretty easy. But what if we ask ourselves, will the numerator go into the denominator? Now I'm looking at this page again. So we have 12/16. This is the same one I gave you on this sheet. I'm asking myself, will 12 go into 16? Well, we know not, because 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. So 16, it won't work. So I cannot divide 12/16 by 12. I have to go down here and I have to find the GCF, and that's the greatest common factor. And if you remember, before we let out for spring break and all the upside down happened in our world, we were looking at this. This is your multiplication table. These are your multiples. These are your factors. Okay? So if we're looking at 12, we're going to make a factor tree. 1 times 12. Will 2 go into 12? Yep. 2 times 6. Will 3 go into 12? Yep. 3 times 4. Now we're finished, because 3 and 4 are neighbors. There's no more numbers between them. Now we're going to look at 16. Oops. Let's do it down here. 1 times 16. 2 times 8. 3 won't go into 16, but 4 will go into 16. 5 won't, 6 won't, 7 won't, so we're finished. So, let's look, we never use 1. Because if I divided 12 sixteenths divided by 1, I would get 12 sixteenths. And we have 2 that's common, not 4, not 3. Oh, excuse me, we have 4 that's common. I didn't mean to do that. We don't have 3, we've got 4 that's common, not 6, not 12, not 8, not 16. So we have 2 factors. Our common factors are 2 and 4, but we want the greatest. Mary, turn that down, please, baby. We want the greatest common factor, and that is going to be 4. So we've got to go up here and divide 12 sixteenths by 4. Now, this is not as hard as it looks, so don't panic. We're going to practice this a lot. So 12 divided by 4 is 3, because 3 times 4 is 12. And 16 divided by 4, because 4 times 4 equals 16. So your final answer would be 3/4. Some teachers like for you to write 12 sixteenths is equal to 3/4 and put both of it down. All right, we're going to walk through another one together. And let's see which one. Why don't we do 9/12. Okay, we know that 9 will not go into 12 because we know our multiplication, because 9 times 2 is 18, so 12 doesn't fit in there. So we have to think, okay, now sometimes you will need to list out both numbers like a factor tree when you get to the high numbers. But right now, I think we could probably look at these and know what our factor is without working too hard. We know that 1 times 9. We know we don't use 1. What else goes into 9? 3. It's not a prime number, but it doesn't have many factors, does it? So we know 9. So what number are we left with? 3. So I didn't have to take all the time to do my factor trees because this is smaller numbers. So what are we going to divide 9/12 by? Yep, 3. Okay, so 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So our final answer would be 3/4. 9/12 equal 3/4. Now what I want you to do is I want you to get your, okay, I forgot which one I gave you for homework. Okay, let me see. I think, hold on. I think this is the one I gave you for homework for an assignment. If you didn't print it out, get a piece of paper. Get a piece of paper, and we're going to work some of these out together. We're going to start with number 1, which is 27. 27 over 36. All right, now 27 won't go into 36. We already know that. We know that. So we have to find a factor that's going to go into 27. So here we go again. We could just look at 27. Okay, so we know that 1 times 27, and I'm not even going to put that because I know I can't use 1. I know I can't use 27. We know 2 doesn't go into it. How do we know that one? Because 7 is an odd number, and 2 only goes into numbers that end with an odd number. What about 3? Oops, I think 3 goes into it, right? 3 times 9 is 27? Okay. Will anything else go? 4 won't, 5 will not, 6 won't, 7 won't. So 9. So 9's the only one we got 3 and 9. All right? So 3 will go into 36. Will 9 go into 36? Yes, because 9 times what equals 36? That's right, 4. So we're going to 27 over 36. I'm going to use my space up here. Instead of putting the answer, I'm going to work it out. Divided by 9 over 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3, because 3 times 9 is 27. And 36 divided by 9 is 4, because 4 times 9 is 36. So your answer is 3/4. That's not too hard, is it? Okay, 6/18. So this is an easy one because I asked, my numerator go into my denominator? What's the answer? Yeah, 6 won't go into 18. So what are we going to divide 6/18 by? 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. Check your work. 1 times 6 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. 6/8 equals 1/3. That's not too hard, is it? Now let's go 25 over 40. I don't want you to be scared by some of these because 25 over 40 is not that hard. We're first going to look at 25 because 25 is an odd number. So we know that our odd numbers, sometimes it's not as easy to find a factor, or they might not have as many. 40 has several factors, so we're not going to start with 40. We're just going to start with 25. And we know that 25 won't go into 40, so we don't have to do 1 in 25. 2 won't go into 25, will it? No, because it's odd. 3 doesn't go into 25. 4 doesn't go into 25. But 5 goes into 25 how many times? 5 times. That is so correct. It's 5 times. Now, will 6 go into 25? No. What else are going to 25? I can't think of anything but 5. Now, will 5 go into 40? That's an easy one. Why is that easy? Because it ends in a 0. 5 will go into any number that ends in a 0 or a 5. So we're going to take 25 over 40. We're going to divide it by 5. And 25 divided by 5 is 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. Let's check our work. 5 times 5. Well, I'm so confused. 5 times 5 is 25. 8 times 5 is 40. And your answer is 5/8. All right, so here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go work some of these problems out for you, and I'm going to put an image on our computer. Now, I don't want you to panic if you don't know these, because what I'm going to do is Friday, we're going to do the same thing, the same lesson over. And you go, why? This is boring. Some of you is going to think that. But for others, we just need the practice of reducing fractions. This is something I cannot rush. So take your time. Don't rush. Don't get aggravated if you don't get it. You can go back and watch this lesson. And don't forget, I'm going to post this with a video on or under this lesson in Google Classroom. And I'm going to work some of these out. I'm not going to work all of them out, but some of the larger ones, some of the ones that I think you might struggle with, I am going to work out. So you can, if you get stuck, you can use a cheat sheet. All right? Don't get panicked on this. If you need anything, let me know. And we're going to do the same thing on Friday. So good day.